I never believed fear had a shape till I saw him, standing completely still under a flickering streetlight. At 2:17 a.m., this happened just 3 months ago and I haven't slept properly since. Let me take you back. I was working late that night. Freelance graphic design, deadlines piling up when my internet cut out. Nothing unusual in my small neighborhood on the edge of Louisville. I figured I'd take a short walk, stretch my legs, and cool my brain down. The air outside was thick, humid, the kind that sticks to your skin. The street was silent, not even crickets chirping. But then, as I turned the corner onto Brookfield Lane, I saw him. Under a lonely streetlight, half flickering, half dead, stood a man, not moving, not swaying, not blinking. He was facing me. I stopped. He was about 30 feet away. Maybe more. He wasn't doing anything, just standing there. His arms were at his sides. His head tilted slightly like he was observing me. But from that distance I couldn't see his face clearly. I thought maybe he was drunk, or lost, or some weirdo trying to be creepy. So I turned to walk away. That's when I heard it. Step. Not mine. His. I turned back. He hadn't changed position, but I know what I heard. Just one footstep, scraping against the pavement. I frowned, pulled out my phone to use the flashlight. Dead. It had 60% battery 10 minutes ago. Now, nothing. I looked up again. The man was closer, only 20 feet now. I hadn't heard him move. No footsteps, no sound. Just closer. I stared. Tried to speak, say something like, "Hey, you okay?" But the words didn't come out. My throat was tight, dry, my legs locked in place. The streetlight above him began flickering harder, buzzing, and that's when I saw it. He had no face, no mouth, no eyes. Just skin stretched where features should be, like someone had erased him, and yet he was staring right at me. I didn't look back, not once. Just sprinted through the humid air, past dark houses, past mailboxes and trees in silence. When I finally reached my house and slammed the door shut, I locked every bolt, drew every curtain, and collapsed onto the floor, heart pounding. And then the power went out. Complete darkness. No sound. Until the streetlight outside my house began flickering. I crawled to the window. Slowly pulled back the edge of the curtain. He was there, standing directly under that same dying streetlight. Facing my house, facing me, still expressionless, motionless, but watching. I stayed awake the entire night, clutching a kitchen knife like it would help if, whatever that thing was, decided to come in. By morning, he was gone. No trace, no footprints, nothing. I tried to tell a friend about it. He thought I was having a breakdown, sleep deprivation, stress, hallucination. So I let it go, until it happened again. Same time, 2:17 a.m., same position, under a streetlight. Different location, this time in the alley behind my office building. I didn't see him at first. Like pressure in the air. When I turned around, he was there, just standing. No face, no sound. Same buzz, same flickering light overhead. I've seen him 7 times since. Different cities, different states. Doesn't matter where I go. Doesn't matter if I'm in a crowd or alone. At 2:17 a.m., if there's a streetlight nearby, he might be there. He doesn't always show up, but when he does, I know. I can feel it in my spine before I even see him. Some nights he's far, a block away, watching. Other nights, he's closer. Last week I saw him at the end of my driveway. 2 nights ago, he was in my backyard. Last night, I woke up to the sound of buzzing, not from outside, from inside my bedroom. No streetlight in my room. But the overhead bulb, it was flickering. And in the corner, just beyond the shadows, I saw a shape, still silent. I turned on every light in the house, blared music, screamed. Nothing moved, but the air was heavy, like he was still there, just waiting. I haven't slept since. And tonight I'm writing this down because I feel like it might be my last chance. It's 2:15 a.m. now. I can already hear it, that faint electric buzzing, growing louder. There are no streetlights inside my house. So why is the light in my hallway flickering? Why is the air turning cold? Why can I feel him standing just outside my door, If you're reading this, don't look outside. Don't check the streetlight. Don't follow the noise. And whatever you do, don't blink. Because when you open your eyes again, he'll be closer.
The mirror in room 313. I was never a believer in the supernatural. Ghosts, demons, curses, just bedtime stories for bored minds. But all of that changed the night I checked into room 313 at a roadside motel in West Virginia. It was supposed to be just one night. I was driving cross-country, moving from New York to Oregon after quitting my job and deciding to start fresh. The sun had set, the rain had started pouring, and I was too exhausted to keep driving. So I pulled into this dingy little motel. You know the type? Flickering neon sign. One guy behind a bulletproof window, and a smell in the lobby that screamed of mold and cigarettes. There was only one room available. Room 313. I should have known. The guy at the counter hesitated before handing me the key. "You're sure you want this room? It's kinda old," he said, eyes darting toward the corridor like something might be watching. But I was tired. I didn't care if the room had peeling wallpaper or smelled like a wet sock. I just needed sleep. When I entered the room, it looked normal. Worn-out carpet, sagging bed, TV from the 90s. But then I noticed a mirror. It was massive, covering nearly the entire wall opposite the bed. Not a standard bathroom mirror. More like something you'd see in a ballroom. Ornate frame. Old wood. The kind that feels like it remembers things. The moment I looked into it, I felt uneasy. Like I wasn't just looking at myself, but something else was looking back. I laughed it off. Jet lag, caffeine crash, imagination. I took a quick shower, brushed my teeth, and crawled into bed. But I couldn't sleep. Something about the room felt wrong. Heavy! Like the air itself didn't want me there. I rolled over to face the wall, away from the mirror, and shut my eyes. That's when I heard it tap, 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 tap. Soft, precise, like fingers tapping against glass. I froze. The sound was coming from the mirror. I didn't want to look, but curiosity or maybe instinct pulled me to turn around. There was nothing there, but the sound continued. Tap, 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 tap. I slowly got out of bed, walked toward the mirror, and stared into it. My reflection was off. At first, I thought it was just bad lighting, but then I noticed my reflection wasn't copying me. I tilted my head. The reflection didn't move. I lifted my hand. The reflection stayed still. My heart stopped. That wasn't a mirror. That was a window to something else than the figure in the mirror. The one that looked like me began to smile, but not a normal smile. It stretched wide, unnatural, skin tearing at the corners. Its eyes turned pitch black, and then it moved, pressing its palms against the glass from the other side. The tapping grew louder. Tap, 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 tap. I stumbled back, heart racing, fumbling for the light switch. When I turned on the light, the mirror was just a mirror again. My reflection was normal, but I didn't sleep that night. At sunrise, I packed my bags and went to the front desk. I told the clerk what I saw. I expected him to laugh. He didn't. Instead, he looked at me. Wheat? Pity? You saw him too? He whispered. That room. It's been like that since 1983. I asked him what happened. He hesitated, then said, A man checked in. Said he was running from something. Stayed in room 313. Next morning, we found him dead. Eyes gouged out, smiling so wide his cheeks were torn open. They sealed the room for years, but after new management took over, they reopened it. Strange things started happening. Guests reported nightmares, hearing whispers, tapping. Some saw their reflections moving on their own. A couple even went missing. He leaned in and whispered, Whatever's in that mirror, it doesn't want to stay there forever. I left without another word, drove straight through 2 states without stopping. But the story doesn't end there. A week later, I moved into my new apartment in Oregon. New job. New life. Trying to forget everything. One night, I came home late and walked into my bathroom. Switched on the light, and there it was. The same mirror. Or at least, it looked like it. Same ornate frame, same faded wood, but I had never bought a mirror like that. I called the landlord, asked if he had placed anything new in the apartment. He said no. That night, I heard it again. Tap, tap, tap. Now, I cover every mirror in my house. But sometimes, even through the sheets and blankets, I can still hear the tapping. And sometimes, when I'm brave enough to peek, I see my reflection smiling back. But I'm not smiling. If you ever find yourself in room 313, don't look in the mirror, because once you do, it never stops looking back.
It was supposed to be a quiet night, the kind of night where you stare at the clock, sip stale coffee, and count down the minutes until sunrise. But at 2:13 a.m., the phone rang in. My life was never the same again. I worked the night shift at a small emergency dispatch center just outside town. Usually, late-night calls were nothing serious. False alarms, drunk drivers, the occasional wrong number. But this call was different. When I answered, all I heard at first was soft, shaky breathing. I started my usual line. This is emergency dispatch. Are you in danger? That's when the whisper came. So faint, I almost thought I imagined it. Can you hear me? It sounded like a child, maybe a young girl. My instincts kicked in. Yes, sweetheart, I can hear you. Are you hurt? Where are you calling from? There was silence for a few seconds, then a sound that made my stomach turn cold, a dragging noise, like someone slowly pulling their feet over a hard floor. A muffled sob followed. My heart raced. Stay on the line, okay? I'm here to help you. And then the voice said something that made my skin prickle. Behind you, spun around in my chair, my headset tugging as I looked over my shoulder. The room was empty. Just me, the glow of computer screens, and the faint buzz of fluorescent lights, and nothing else. I turned back to the phone, my mouth dry. What do you mean? Static erupted on the line, sharp and loud, making me wince. Then nothing. The call was gone. Jeff, my supervisor, came over asking what happened. I explained quickly, but when he tried to trace the number, it didn't exist. Hadn't come from any phone, any network. It was like the call was never made. I tried to laugh it off, calling it a prank. But for the rest of the hour, every creak of the building, Every flicker of the lights made my pulse quicken. I couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was nearby, watching me from just beyond the corner of my vision. At 3:06 a.m., the phone rang again. I hesitated before answering. My hands trembled. "Why didn't you help me?" The same voice, more broken now, full of pain. "I want to help," I said quickly. "Tell me where you are." The line crackled, and then came the chilling reply. "In your house. In your room." I froze. My house. My room. This was more than a prank. Someone knew me, knew where I lived. But that voice, it didn't sound alive. Before I could speak, I heard it, the wet sound of breathing right next to my ear, as if the caller was standing inches away from me, not miles. Jeff walked over again, sensing my fear. I put the call on speaker. Together, we listened to a low, unnatural sobbing, too deep and guttural for a child, but too distorted to be fully human. The sobbing turned to a rasping laugh, broken and wet, like something breathing through water. Then, in a tone that made every hair on my neck stand, the voice whispered, "Soon." The line went dead. We stared at the phone, neither of us breathing. A man who had worked 20 years in dispatch and thought he'd heard everything looked pale and shaken. I tried to finish my shift, but every minute dragged like an eternity. I kept imagining the voice, those feet dragging across a floor somewhere. At 4:12 a.m., I heard it again, not from the phone this time, but behind me. A faint scraping sound on the office floor. I spun around, no one there. But on my desk, right beside the phone, was a single wet footprint. Small, bare. I never worked another night shift after that. Now, whenever my phone rings past midnight, I hesitate to answer, because I know one day that same broken whisper will return. And next time when it says "behind you," I might not be alone.